The movie starts in a federal prison in Colorado with very strict rules. A fellow prisoner comes up to Ray Breslin and tells him to be careful around someone named Jax. He says that Ray and Jax are about to get into a fight. The next day, just like the prisoner said, Jack attacks Ray, but Ray quickly beats him. Ray wins the fight, but because of all the noise, the guards put him in a place where he can't talk to anyone. Only the most dangerous prisoners are put in this high-security area. Ray is then put in a small room with only a toilet and no windows. He is also always being watched by a security camera. He is only allowed to have one thing, which is A. Ray quickly starts to think of a way to get out of prison. He has already looked at how the prison is set up and found that the area with the most security is next to the fire garage. Next, he sees that there aren't enough guards at the prison, which makes his job easier. Ray watches the guards for a few days and figures out how they usually act, like when they go out. 7 minutes, to be exact. Using these pieces of information, Ray figures out the best time and way to leave now. He just needs to figure out how to get the code to his high-security prison door. For this, he tears off a thin piece of plastic from the package of chocolate milk that he gives with every meal. He sneakily puts the piece of plastic on the touchpad and gets the passcode string of numbers. When he has the numbers, it's easy for him to figure out. He also tells his team outside the prison to do something to distract the guards at 4 p.m. on the day he plans to escape. He finally puts the plan into action when the guards leave the cell for a smoke break and he uses the passcode to get out. Then, due to an event, he goes into the fire garage, which is not guarded. As a distraction, his team starts a fire outside the prison. The firemen bring the fire brigade outside, and Ray gets to go with them by hooking himself to the bottom of the fire truck. Ray drives away with his teammates Abigail and Hush after he gets out of prison. They leave him by a phone booth, where the police find him and take him into custody. But before they can take Ray back to jail, a man named Lester Clark shows up and convinces the guards to let Ray go. In the next scene, Lester and Ray have a conversation with the prison. Ray is finally revealed to be the founder of a security company called Breslin Clark, which tests how safe prisons are. He is not a criminal. Instead, he is a businessman who goes to different prisons as a prisoner to see if they are hard to get out of. Over time, he has become known as the man who can get out of any prison. The guard is over there, and they were glad to hear Ray's ideas about how to make the prison safer. Ray goes to his office after the meeting for the first time in 5 months. He solves the dumbest computer problem in the world, which makes his friend proud. His business partner, Lester, has set up a meeting between Jessica Miller, a CIA agent, and him. She wants Ray to test a new prison for people who have gone missing, but only if Ray and his team don't know about it. The real location of the prison. Ray isn't sure about the deal, even though she offers him a lot of money. He only agrees to go when Lester, his partner, asks him to. They give him a fake name, Anthony Portos, who is a Spanish terrorist who works for money. Abigail puts a tracker in his arm on the day he is supposed to go to prison. This is how the rules work. But things go wrong when he is kidnapped and given drugs so he can be put in prison. The location of the prison is unknown. When Ray wakes up, his kidnappers also take the tracker off of his arm, which hurts a lot. Ray is in a glass prison on top of a platform. There are prisoners in similar cells all around him. They are being watched by cameras that move. Ray is then taken to meet Hobbs, who is in charge of the prison. Hobbs introduces himself. Ray doesn't know who the prison warden is because he was told that Marsh is that person. Ray says his evaluation code, which is supposed to get him out of prison if he gets an E, so he knows something is wrong. But the warden doesn't care at all and tells him he's an inmate outside the prison. Back in the prison, Abigail and Hush do their best to figure out where Ray is. The prisoners are told to leave the area and go to Babylon. The guards all wear the same masks, and they can hit any prisoner they don't like. After a while, another prisoner named Emil comes up to Ray and tells him not to get. Emil thanks a lot. He also says that he hasn't done anything wrong and that the only reason he's in jail is because some people want to find out what he knows about his boss, Mannheim. Ray is now starting to think that this prison isn't for federal criminals, but that rich people send their enemies here to be tortured. He wants to learn more about what's going on in the isolation area. So Ray and Emil get into a fight to get sent there. The warden sees this on the cameras and is almost happy to see them fighting, and who wouldn't be? This is like the greatest WE match in history. Soon, they are sent to the isolation area, which is like a torture chamber but is just a small room. The room feels like an oven that's too hot for a person to stay in. High-powered halogen lights are meant to confuse prisoners and make them lose water. After a day in the chamber, the warden watches the two prisoners suffer in the heat through the cameras. Dr. Kyrie, a prison doctor, goes to see Ray. He seems to like him, but when Ray asks him where they are, he doesn't answer. Emil and Ray are let out of the room after the session is over. During his time in the chamber, Ray has learned that the floors are held together with steel rivets instead of the more secure aluminum rivet. So he asks Emil to get a metal plate that he can use to open the rivets. Emil's next meeting with the warden is in the morning. He is asked about Mannheim, his boss. Again, Emil does it on purpose to make the warden angry. And while he is being tortured, guards force a water pipe down his throat. And after the meeting, Emil finds a piece of metal. He wants to know what Ray plans to do. In return, Ray tells him that he has been studying the prison's design and has come to the conclusion that it is underground. So, if he takes out the bolts and climbs up, he might be able to get to them. Emil thinks that Ray can help him get away after hearing his plan. They quickly put the plan into action and start a fight to get sent back to the isolation chamber. There, Ray hides from the camera and starts to open the rivet. When he's done, he hits the chamber to tell Emil to again distract the guards, and Emil starts to scream, which makes everyone look at him while Ray uses a paper ball in his mouth to block his camera. He gets into the vent and starts moving. On his way, he breaks a pipe by accident, which lets water into the chamber. When Ray finally gets outside, he is surprised to find that the prison is in the middle of the ocean, on a huge cargo ship. Before anyone can see him, he quickly goes back inside. The water leak floods the isolation chambers, which distracts the guards and makes it easy for Ray to get back without being caught. In the next scene, Ray's friends Abigail and Hush talk to Lester about Ray's disappearance. They see that the check Ray was given for his work has been returned as unpaid. Also, Ray can't get in touch with the woman who offered him the job. They ask Lester to do a search, but he says that Ray is doing his job and he doesn't need to. In one of Hollywood's best twists, after the two men leave, Lester calls the prison warden and asks him to keep Ray in prison for the rest of his life. It turns out that Lester is greedy and wants to run the business by himself. So, he had to make up the fake deal to get Ray to the prison and keep him there forever. Abigail and Hush do not give up looking for Ray. Hush, though, finds out about the Tomb, a private prison that is against the law and where people put their enemies. Ray is in fact in the prison, but Hush can't figure out where the prison is. Back in the prison, Ray and Emil try to figure out how the guards do their jobs, which is hard because they all wear the same masks. They do this for a few days and figure out some important details about their schedule. Now they have to figure out where they are so they can figure out how to get out of this situation. Ray tries to get help from the prison doctor, but he says no. Instead, he sneaks out a piece of cardboard to use as a sextant and figure out where the ship is. For this accident to work, they will have to be on top of the deck. So Ray and Emil ask Via Freddy, a Muslim inmate, for help with their plan. Later, he offers to work as a spy for the warden. In turn, he asks the warden, who doesn't know what he really wants, to let him pray to Allah outside. The guard agrees, and he is allowed to go outside. Then, Afridi uses this sextant to find the latitude of. Using this information, Ray figures out that they are in the Atlantic Ocean near Morocco. He and Emil aren't sure where to go yet, but they need to come up with a plan soon. Emil says he has a friend in Morocco who owes him a lot of money, which is true. If they can find a way to tell him, he and his group will come to save them. Ray runs into the prison doctor again, and this time he agrees to help them. This time, the doctor sends an email to Emil's friend or to Emil's friend's friend, telling them where they are. Today is the day they carry out the plan. At first, Freddy tells the warden that there is going to be a riot in the block, which is not true. All of the warden's guards are sent to the block, leaving only 2 in the Babylon area. When Ray thinks the time is right, he starts a riot in the Babylon area. Soon, everyone starts fighting, and Ray, Emil, and Aridi run to the top of the deck to get away. Before the 3 can get to the top, the warden notices this and locks down the cargo. At the same time, the doors are locked because of the lockdown, and Emil men come to save them in their helicopters. But inside the ship, the guards and the group have a. During this, Aridi is shot and can no longer move. Ray comes up with a plan quickly, an escape plan, and asks Aridi to stay with him and eat while he goes to the control room to turn off the power. So, when he leaves, the doors to the top deck can be opened again. Aridi asks Emil to leave without him because he knows he is too hurt to make it out alive. Emil does what the man says, but he doesn't want to. Later, the guards find a freak and kill him. At the same time, Ray turns off the power, which helps Emil get to the top of the deck. Emil runs to the helicopter, but the guards are shooting at it. Soon, he and his friends find a way to get back at Ray while they wait for him to come out. Ray, on the other hand, is stuck in a tank inside the ship. The guards are looking for him everywhere, so he flushes himself into the sea instead of leaving. Emil's helicopter takes off, and he looks down and sees Ray struggling in the water. He throws the ladder from the helicopter down. Ray climbs up the ladder and shoots at the ship's oil tanks. This causes an explosion that kills both the warden and his. The 2 finally get away safely in the helicopter and land on the coast of Morocco. When the car comes to pick them up, he is surprised to see Jessica, the woman who offered him the job in the prison. He is even more confused when Emil tells him that Jessica is his daughter. Then it turns out that Mannheim, who everyone thought was Emil's boss, is really Emil. He told his enemies a lie about who he was so they wouldn't kill him. Jessica knew that her dad was in jail, so she had to get Ray locked up so she could go get him. Before leaving, Jessica tells Ray that his business partner, Lester, got involved with the prison warden and asked them to keep Ray in jail forever. This means that Lester betrayed Ray. In the next scene, Ray and Abigail are seen together. Abigail tells him that Lester was offered a job as the prison's chief executive officer if the prototype Ray was staying and turned out to be impossible to get out. Lester packs his bags and gets ready to leave when he hears that Ray has gotten away. But Hush and Abigail find him and make Ray's plan for getting even happen. Then we see Hush attack Lester while he is in a car. When the man wakes up, he is still in his car, but it turns out that his car is on a huge cargo ship going to a place he doesn't know.